Hello and welcome back to Magland. Today we're going to start a new series. The other series is going to continue, but just for the time being, I thought I would start a new series all about currency, economics, and money, which is kind of the same thing as currency. But anyways, today is going to be a very, very detailed look at one particular subject, which is which currency is best to be backed by your coin. In a recent, I think it's 7.20, they added the ability to back coins with other things besides gold. And they all have different properties to them. And we're going to look at those today in detail and talk about them one by one. And it will allow you on your server to make the best choice depending on your playthrough. Whether or not you're an admin, whether or not you're a normal player, just creating currency. That way, you can have a stable economy, and I think it starts with what kind of currency you want to back it with. So let's get started and let's look at a PDF that I made of the top 6, in my opinion, types of currency to be backed by. So as you can see, the first kind of currency back is gold, and this is the one that almost everyone always uses automatically because it's the first one. Now, gold has not very many advantages. People automatically trust gold, which is great, and it gives a use to a semi-useless item, but beyond that, it's way too abundant. The reason why we use gold in real life is because it's rare, and it requires a lot of effort to find, and people want it because it's beautiful. In this game, it has no real use besides making gold flakes late game, but you don't even need that many. It's also restricted to a profession. This is very important. If only one kind of profession can get that gold and sell it to you, then that profession has a huge advantage over, say, farmers who don't find gold on their farm. Now, the next one is ore. Ore is slightly better because it eliminates that restricted by profession if you were, say, using gold ore. But again, it's way too abundant and it doesn't store well. But the other useful thing about ore is if you don't use gold ore, you can use iron ore, which is useful somewhat, but but it's not that useful and also doesn't store well. So ore isn't the perfect thing to use either. Now I'm going to skip stone. I'm going to go to paper first. People automatically trust paper money because we use it. That's very important. I think a lot of players would say, oh cool, you're using paper to make money? That's a good idea. And they would automatically trust that. But the problem with this is it's limited to a profession again, and it incentivizes deforestation, which is a huge problem. But it's still way better than gold, in my opinion, because it's a somewhat limited material. It takes time to make, and this is pretty useful because there's probably more gold than there is wood pulp, even with the highest efficiencies. The next one is just iron ingots, which is a hugely useful resource. At the end of the game, players generally have massive stockpiles of it anyways, though, so it doesn't really matter that it's very useful. And it also can be converted from ore, which means that every player can really just throw iron ore at the producer of the currency and create currency. But again, it's overly abundant and it's restricted to a profession, which is always going to be a problem. The last one, before I'm going to talk about my favorite, which is stone, is wood pulp. Wood pulp is available to all players and helps clean the server. If it makes you money to pick up the wood pulp, new players are going to pick up their wood pulp and bring it to you and sell it to you. It's also decently available, but not overly abundant, which is very important. You want something that has somewhat of a rarity and a limitation to it. But just like paper, it incentivizes people to deforest, which a new player will come onto your server and say, oh, you guys use wood pulp? I'm going to go cut down this whole forest, leave all the stumps there, leave all of the logs around, and just pick up the pulp, and then go sell you the pulp. And also, it's not very trustworthy. Can you imagine going to a server and seeing that they're using wood pulp for money? It would be a joke. It'd be a joke. I would not automatically trust wood pulp. I would need to be convinced. Now, my favorite, and I think the one with the best advantages and disadvantages, is stone. The reason for that is it's a very useful material that is used at every walk of the game. Early game, it makes stone, mortared stone, and stone roads. Mid game, you're using it to make cement. And then late game, you're using it to use concrete to make asphalt and blah, 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 blah. it's always a useful material, and it's always in demand. You almost always have, no one ever just stockpiles tons of stone. That's silly. You convert it into useful materials: mortared stone, brick, cement, reinforced concrete. So this is extremely useful, because if you have too much currency on the market, you can continue to buy stone, and rather than turn it into currency, you can use that stone to then sell. The problem with gold is if you keep buying gold to support new players, or whatever the people who, whatever your currency is, keep buying whatever your currency is backed by, and it doesn't have a use, it just sits in your stockpile or sits in your shelves and your chests and doesn't do anything. Stone has a use and will always have a use, and you can use some of it to make currency and the rest to use useful things like brick and so forth. Another useful thing about it is it's very available to every player. So new players and veteran players can go and mine it and give it to you. Unfortunately, a player who is going to use an excavator is going to be able to get a lot more stone. But they don't have the incentive, because there's better ways to make money than just throwing stone at the server leader or whoever is responsible for the treasury. There are obviously problems with stone. Is it's extremely abundant, the most abundant besides dirt. But that's not really a problem, because you can always use it, and the time over abundance is even, because to get the material you need to go mine it. Lastly, the only other problem I can see with using stone is it's not automatically trustworthy. People who come on your server and see you guys using stone, you're like, why would you do that? It's so stupid. There's so much stone around. But I think the advantages outweigh the disadvantages for stone. However, I think for an individual playthrough, you need to go ahead and look at this list and make your own decisions. But in my experience, using stone is probably going to be the most advantageous. But what do you guys think? What would you like to use out of this list, or would you like to use another one, another kind of material? Let me know in the comments, because I'm interested in what you guys have to hear about this one. And again, if you guys like this video, please leave a like. It's very important for you YouTubers, especially new ones. If you don't like it, send a dislike. Tell me what you think. How can I make the video better? And of course, as always, if you want to keep up with my videos, you can do the thing that you already know how to do, which is subscribe. Okay? Alright guys, thank you. Hope you enjoyed this content. Hope you found it informational, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.